Hey, what's going on, GameLeapers? This is Iggs, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about the 10 most broken builds. These are the most OP setups you can run in the game in 12.23 at the moment. And some of these, by the way, are kind of going to be like unknown, so I'm trying to give them a little bit of love in this video. So yeah, if you guys want to test them out, or if you do actually play with these at the moment, then let us know in the comment section. If you do want to become even better, if you do want to peek on the Rift, then please check out our website, GameLeap.com, linked in the description and comment section, because that will actually help you improve and become better. It doesn't even matter what you build on champions, you will be stomping 99% of the player base because you play at the highest level. So to get access to our library of content where we upload daily videos, click on those links, and yeah, let's get into the countdown. Now, coming in at number 10 is a Zilean mid setup, and you might be like, why would I want to play Zilean in the mid lane? Well, let's think about who's OP at the moment, right, in terms of champions on the Rift. Well, we have champions like Bel'Veth. We have a lot of bruisers and fighters right from the top lane, maybe building Ravenous Hydra. So if we think of Fiora, Camille, and of course there are a bunch of others. Now, when you have Zilean in the mid lane, most games you're probably going to have one of these big carries on your team. So why would Zilean be good in these compositions? Well, you enhance your teammates, you make them even stronger. And Zilean in the mid lane with the new Rod of Ages, and then with an Archangel Staff, and then Cosmic Drive for all of that cooldown reduction, the ability haste, is an excellent utility setup. You have very good wave clear because of the AP from Roa and Archangels, and because of your ability to enhance their movement speed, and of course to keep them alive with your ultimate. Zilean honestly is an excellent pick, very good flex pick as well. So if you see him in champ select, he might be going mid lane, he might be going support, so it's hard to actually predict where he's going as well. So Zilean mid with these three items, very underrated, and starts off the countdown. Now coming in at number 9, you could probably assign these three items, Blade of the Rune King, Steel Caps, or Merc Treads, depending on the enemy team composition, and then Jack Show to a bunch of champions, right? But specifically here, guys, I'm talking about Warwick. So across every single rank, right, in over 9,500 matches, close to a 56% win rate. Warwick with the hotfix buff Jack Show, so from 12.22, the hotfix in that patch, well, it hasn't been nerfed since. So therefore, champions building Jack Show are just as good, right? And because Warwick benefits so much from this item, it just makes him tankier, right, as the fights progress, and because of your innate healing, Warwick is almost impossible to 1v1, and even in team fights, he's very difficult to kill because of Jack Show's passive, right? So the longer the fight goes, the more tanky you become. Blade of the Rune King will give you all the damage and obviously lifesteal you need, all the DPS, and then by going Steel Caps or Merc Treads, depending on the enemy team composition. So this setup, guys, for Warwick in the jungle, test this out and be scared if you see this on the enemy team. Now coming in at number 8 on the countdown, we have another jungler here. Now let's just say you don't want to play a Jack Show, maybe tankier champion. Let's say you want to play an assassin. Well, how about playing Kha'Zix with this setup? So these stats are in platinum and above, and you can see that when Kha'Zix players go Ravenous Hydra, Prowler's Claw, and then for your third item, you can go a bunch of things, right? If the enemy team has 0 armor, you can go Ghostblade. You can get maybe Edge of Night. But if they have armor and you need to get through that tankiness, Cerulea's Grudge is really good as well. But the first two items, Hydra and then Prowler's Claw, reason you want to get Hydra is because of the actual cleave passive, right? And the help it gives you in clearing jungle camps. Kha'Zix's big weakness ever since, right, kind of like just nerfed Tiamat a few seasons ago, has been his clear speed right in the jungle, especially with the multiple monster camps. So we're talking Wolves, Raptors, and then Krugs. Kha'Zix does have a bit of trouble getting through them. Tiamat and then Hydra allows you to clear as quick as the quickest junglers in the game now. And because lots of players in this new jungle meta are just full clearing non-stop, just brain dead full clearing, they don't even think about getting invaded, Kha'Zix, you can do the same, and you get to level 4 and you can actually play the game. So any Kha'Zix mains, let me know if you've actually tried this setup, and if you haven't, highly recommend doing so. Now beating this setup to number 7 on the countdown, this one belongs in the mid lane again, and this is Talon. Now it looks a little strange, right? Because we don't have Prowler's Claw, there's no lethality here, but getting Ravenous Hydra into Black Cleaver, and of course I'm about to explain why, and then Jack Show, well, it's one of the most obnoxious setups on the Rift. Now the reason we get a Hydra, what do we think? I kind of just mentioned it for Kha'Zix in terms of jungling, but in terms of laning, the cleave passive, Tiamat, Ravenous Hydra, the wave clear is awesome. Now Talon, you do actually have good wave clear, right, with your W, your rake, but unfortunately sometimes you're not going to actually be able to one-shot the back range minions, and you won't actually have the damage maybe to outpush the enemy mid laner. Tiamat and then Ravenous Hydra allows you to do just this. It's also really useful as well just to clear jungle camps while you're running to a lane or running back to mid lane, or after you've shoved a wave out. You don't always have to go around the map killing people, so this is super useful. Now Black Cleaver, why do we get this? Well, let's have a think. Black Cleaver, we're getting this because it makes us a little bit more durable because of the HP, but we're really getting it for the armor penetration, right? So the longer the fight goes, it's almost like we're playing Bruiser Talon in kind of a way, but Black Cleaver lets us shred those tanks. And because so many champions, right, have armor these days, Steel Caps, the new Jack Show, it can be difficult to play against these OP DPSs at the moment. Cleaver allows us to do that, and the massive ability haste we get as well from the item, so valuable. Now Jack Show, why do we get this and not something like Dustblade or Prowler's Claw? You don't need Dustblade. You don't need Prowler's Claw. you will still easily do enough damage to kill squishy champions, if you combo properly that is. So maybe go onto our website and look at some of the Talon guides we have. So we don't actually need more damage. That's why Jak'Sho is so good, right? And just like I mentioned for Warwick, the item that makes us tankier the longer the fight goes, we're a close range melee champion. Most of the time we are going to be near lots of enemy champions, so we can make full use out of this mythic item. Now moving on to number 6 on the countdown, guys, we're actually going back to the jungle here, and this is one of the most interesting setups in the game at the moment. So listen to this. What we're going to be doing, or what you guys should be doing, is going Radiant Virtue Zac, and you might be like, why on earth would I do this and not go something like maybe Frostfire, or maybe even Jak'Sho Zac? There might even be Heartsteel Zacs out there. Well, the reason being is because of the buff that Radiant Virtue got, right? So the fact that the passive is going to enhance you and your allied champions, it's so valuable, right? Your ultimate is a massive thing on Zac, of course, and when you pop this, you become such a big threat, as do your allies, right? And by pairing this with the buff Sunfire Aegis from 1223, so the cost went down by 100 gold, 2700 total, and also you're getting a big 100 extra HP. Huge, right, for Zac? And then we can actually make use of all of this HP, so from Virtue, from Sunfire, with a Demonic Embrace Buy. This Demonic Embrace Buy, because of the passive, it's going to translate all of that bonus HP we have from our previous 2 items into AP. So not only are we a threat in terms of CC, just innately speaking, I mean we are playing Zac, but also in terms of damage. If you can land a combo onto an enemy champion, they will 100% get half HP'd. I mean, unless they're actually like really tanky, but you get my point, right? You jump into the enemy backline with this build, you're going to deal damage, you're going to be unkillable, and your team will clean house because of the Virtue passive. So Zac, with this setup in the jungle, definitely give this a shot, guys, in your games. Now moving on to number 5, guys, on the countdown, you could easily put this as like the number 1 build just because the champion is so broken. So this is Bel'Veth. Now in Platinum and above, if you look at this here, so in only 38 games, right, you might be thinking, what a rubbish sample space. Like, how can you talk about this and give it validity? Well, the reason being is because 38 games is still decent enough, but I've also got stats from Diamond and above as well. Now in Platinum and above, Blade of the Rune King, Heartsteel, Titanic Hydra, Bel'Veth has a 68% win rate. If we move to Diamond and above, this changes to 85% in 26 games. This is no joke. If the build was bad, right, and it was a flog of a build, it's not going to have these win rates. This is real. And if it was built more, I guarantee you, it would easily have a plus 60, plus 65% win rate. The reason it's not built is because people love going Kraken Slayer, or they might go Bork into Jak'Sho. They don't understand how OP Heartsteel with Titanic Hydra is, and I've mentioned this for other champions like Set. And the reason why it's so OP is because you're getting so much HP from Heartsteel, right? What does that HP do when you have Titanic Hydra? It gets transferred into bonus attack damage, so exactly the same as Demonic Embrace, but the attack damage iteration, right? So with Bel'Veth, because you already have Blade of the Rune King, you have all the DPS, all the damage you ever need, all the sustain. Then you get Heartsteel, it becomes even worse for the enemy team, that is, to actually kill you. Then you get Titanic Hydra, you get even more HP, and you get a bunch of bonus attack damage now. So this build, you're unkillable, while the enemy champions are still so killable. Now, number 4 on the countdown, look at these stats. Platinum and above, like Thornmail, Plated Steel Caps, and Jak'Sho, a 60% win rate or close to for Rammus in the jungle. There's no way. Now, the reason why Rammus is so busted at the moment, well, it's kind of related to what I said before, right? Think of all the champions who are broken. We have close range attack damage champions, bruisers, and that's good for Rammus, obviously, because he is the ultimate anti-attack damage champion. So by getting an early Thornmail into Steel Caps, into Jak'Sho, you become the biggest threat on the Rift. And because at the moment junglers are full clearing, it actually gives you time to clear yourself. Not often are you getting invaded at the moment because how people are just thinking about the jungle. Still think it's really bad, but that's how players are playing. So Rammus, you can get to level 3, maybe even level 4, and then you can powerball around the map and become an absolute menace. And by the way, guys, these stats, even in higher elos, so in like Master and above, Rammus's win rate is still close to 55%. So it is real. This is not just for lower elos, even if you're playing in higher elos, test this out. Now, coming in at number 3 on the countdown, we are moving to the mid lane here, and we're talking about Kassadin. And because of the buffs in 1223, it's not really about the build. Honestly, even though this is a builds video, it's more just about the Kassadin getting buffed in 1223 has made this build incredibly broken, right? So Rod of Ages, Sorcery Shoes, Archangel Staff. With the new Kassadin, because of those buffs in 1223, I just got to put him in here. So if you're a mid laner and you don't have Kassadin in your champion pool, you are really missing a trick. Like we talked about Bel'Veth being elo inflated, this one, Kassadin, with this setup, it might be even better. So if he is open and the enemy team has a lot of magic damage, a lot of mages, you will crush them. Now number 2, who can be better than that setup if Kassadin is only number 3? Well, this is actually Zeri with Ravenous Hydra, followed by Shield Bow, and then Runaan's Hurricane. Now, why are we going Ravenous Hydra on Zeri? Well, even though Ravenous Hydra did get nerfed in 1223, right, in terms of the cleave passive, the actual damage going down by 5% for ranged champions, which obviously affects Zeri, and of course we're missing some Omnivamp once our Carnivorous passive is fully stacked, but who really cares about that? Because we're still getting 10% flat from the actual item once we buy it, and the cleave passive still deals enough damage to pose a threat, right? Zeri, it's insane because it helps with your kind of bad wave clear and your AoE. Once you get your E going and you start running around the map and stacking everything, you deal so much damage, and in team fights, your damage output is easily going to be the most out of any champion. Obviously, the only bad thing here is that, well, it probably takes a little bit of time to scale, but that's Zeri anyway. Like, even if you rush a shield bow, you're still not really that strong. You need 2 to 3 items to really become Zeri and an actual champion, so why not make it these 3 items? And it's also really fun as well, and any Zeri mains out there, I'd love to know what you guys think if you have tried this setup, because I might have to. It actually looks that enjoyable. Now, the number 1 build, guys, I'm 100% sure that anyone watching this video has seen this build in like the last few days. This is Udyr. Now, I'm not talking like Udyr with Conqueror or something like this, Phase Rush or anything else, like any other keystone. I'm talking about Halo Blades Udyr with Prowler's Claw and Ravenous Hydra. Has anyone played against this, by the way? Like, legit. It doesn't matter if you're playing a tank with a bunch of armor or a squishy, obviously. You just get one shot. The DPS is like unreal. As soon as he jumps on you with the target stars, oh my goodness, like your health bar just disappears. Now, the only bad thing about this build is that you're very squishy, right? So you do have to be careful about like just jumping in there. Like if you're trading your life for a maybe support, probably not good, right? So you have to try and isolate enemy champions and kill them when they don't have anyone else around them. But even if that's like the only bad thing, look at the win rate for me. Close to 58%. That's in over 21,000 matches across all elos. Guys, how can I not put this build at number 1? So for those of you complaining about sample space, maybe for like the Bel'Veth build or maybe a couple of others, look at this one for me. The number 1 build for 1223 is Halo Blades Udyr with Prowler's Claw. That was the stupidly OP 10 builds countdown video for 1223. Any questions, any thoughts, leave them in the comment section. And if you did enjoy this video, leave a like down below and I'll see you in the next video. This has been a...